Hi guys, in this lecture we'll talk about the drop down. How we can design a drop down in Outsystems, drop down list in Outsystems, so that whenever users select anything from the drop down, if you want to perform any action or if you want to just provide a simple selection to you, how we can design that. So for that in Outsystems we have a drop down widget available. If we have to design that in HTML, we have a select tag. Inside select, we just provide the options, right? Let's see directly in Outsystems how we can use that. This is my Outsystems. If we have to use a drop down, we will require to provide a list to the drop down as a source, because drop down will show the values from a list only, right? So let me just fetch a list using the aggregate. What I will do, I will fetch the same users list. So I have just selected the user source. So I have my user list available here. Let me just search for the drop down tag. So drop down widget. Let me drag and drop. By default, it adopts the complete 12 column width. I can just slide to make it 4 column or 5 column. Let's see the properties. The variable is the variable which will hold the user selection. The list will be the list, whatever we will use to populate the values inside this dropdown. So it will be the get user dot list. If you have noticed, automatically it Outsystem selects and set the proper text and value. So text will be the text, whatever will be visible to user, and the value will be value when user will select any text, whatever what is the value which we want to assign to the variable, this variable. So in this case, the name, user's name will be the text and user's ID will be the value. So we'll require a variable here. So what I will do, I will just right click and add a new variable, and that will be user ID, right? User identifier, because this the value of this drop down is user identifier, right? So it's the same data type of variable we will require. Mandatory false. If mandatory true, in this sense it will require to always fetch always select something in this particular drop down. Empty text. So if it is blank, then there will not be an empty option available. If we just provide any value, for example select user, so we will have one empty option available at the top, at the start of the option list, and by default it will be selected, so that always the dropdown will show select a user and give a list. So whatever we select, it will perform accordingly. On change, if we have to handle the on change event, if we want to perform any action whenever user perform a change or perform any action here, we can handle. So what we'll do, we will handle the on change event and we'll just show what value user has selected. So we'll use the message just to show the value. So it is not available under suggestion because the data type is not text. So we'll show the user ID, what user is selected. Let me just publish and show you. It is simple use case, but most of the cases we use the drop down, because I don't think we can have a form without a drop down. Always we get at least a single, at least a value, or at least a property that will be part of dropdown, or for that we'll require to design a dropdown. So it is the most common widget what generally we use. So you see, let me log in. Select user. This is the empty text, right? And this is the list of users available. I have a lot of users, so that's why you can see that much users. If I select, this is the user ID. We are getting the user ID, right? So as soon as I just click on any user, it assign the ID of task manager user one to the this variable user ID, and then we can use this user ID anywhere in the flow. Yeah, so that's it. This is the drop down. Now we have one more variation available of drop down, that is the multi select drop down. This is the single selection drop down. If we have to use the multi selection drop down, we can use the drop down tag. Drop down tag. Drop down tag. Drop down tag. This is the multi select version of the drop down. So we will be able to select multiple. We cannot. This is the web block, so we cannot just slide it. So what we'll do, we'll just go to Here we'll just include in a container and we'll slide in add column. Hmm. Now let's see the properties of dropdown tag. Option list will be the uh, it is not giving suggestion because the option list it requires the type is drop down option list, and we have our list in a form of users list. That's why it is not giving under suggestion, but we can use that, we can select that. Let me just select from the expression editor. This is my list, right? Dot list. So it is giving one error because the data type does not match, but we can map the proper data type. So the option list requires value and label. So we will have to map the proper value and proper label from this list. So the label will be username and value will be user ID. It is text type value. That's why it is not giving a suggestion. Okay. Now error has gone. This error has gone. We have one more mandatory thing property which needs to be handled. So now we have our drop down tag available. We have a mandatory property associated with drop down tag, that is the handler. So always we will require to handle this. So let me just create a new action. Automatically this handler gets the drop down tag ID and selected option list whenever we perform any action. So if I select one value, it will automatically call this and provide a list which will have only one row. If I select the second option, it will again call it and provide the list with the two rows, right? This is how it works. So what we'll do, we'll just show the length of this particular list. So let me just drag and drop the message and we'll show just the length of this message. So length of selected items is this and length. Perfect. Let me show you. That's it. A simple use case, but we use that as well, right? Drop down tag. We use drop down tag as well in multiple cases. The most basic use case is user management. When we create a new user, and if we want to provide the role assignment functionality, so we can assign multiple rows to a single user, right? In that case, in the role list, in the role drop down, we provide drop down tag and we can select multiple rows to be assigned with the user while creating it. So this is a basic use case what generally we handle using the drop down tag. So that's it. Let me show you. So this is my drop down. Perfect. This is my drop down tag. I have all that user with the multi select. So currently it is one, then two. You see, this all the users whatever I am selecting is being assigned to the being sent to the handler. If I just click here, 0, right? Now length is 0. If I just select all, length is 28. So this is how we can use the drop down and drop down tag. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching this.